to say what you feel. It's Friday. I want my co-host to introduce themselves, then I'm gonna introduce myself. Go ahead, co-host. We got a special guest co-host all the way
Hey,
from my hometown. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them where to find you.
hey, what's going on, man? Bryce, straight out of Niagara Falls. Hit me up on Twitter at Benji5203. Shout out to the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons, future. You know them Raven boys, got to represent.
Man, I wish I had a cricket sound effect because that would have been very appropriate. All right, other co-hosts, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, this is Super Heavyweight. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight, and you follow me, I'll follow you back. I love talking sports. Actually, I talk about life in general, man. And right now, I've pretty much decided I don't like any of the candidates, and I'm voting for myself. So, there's that.
Gene for president.
All right. And I'm gonna introduce myself. Actually, you know what? I'm feeling really good today. So, for the three of us in attendance
Oh, no, here they go.
and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the greatest gamer of all time, and now Denzel ain't got nothing on me because I'm the greatest debater of all time, has come back to your cell phone, your living room, your computer, wherever you may watch me back at. And you will watch me, you will agree, and you will be educated. And it's all for one reason. Because I'm... Come on, Bryce, you can give me some backup. Awesome! And it's time to say what you feel. So we're going to start off right here with the news. What's in the news? The UK kicked itself out of the UK. I don't know how you're called the United Kingdom and you don't want to be united, but I will understand. Now I heard Texas is sitting there thinking, well, the UK did it, so we can do it too. I really kind of hope Texas do it because it would just give us a reason to
Adios.
move the Cowboys somewhere else closer to me so I can go see some games. But how do y'all feel about that? Like, is that a big thing? Is it people overreacting? That's all I've been hearing all day is about this separation that I don't really
Well,
care about.
Yeah, there's over there. There's a lot of xenophobia. There's a lot of racism. Now, I'll as far as Muslims are concerned, and I think that's what's driving. You have a conservative party in power over there in the Tories, and they're pretty much driving this. I've got some friends that are in the UK. I've got a friend of mine that's in Birmingham who actually voted to remove Great Britain from the union. And in speaking with her, I mean, she's not very informed. And
Well,
when you watch the news, and the slanted media is the only outlets that you really have to go by. And I understand, but I don't agree with it. I feel like she should do her homework to learn a little bit more about what's going on and what the effects of doing this could be. And all you have to see is Donald Trump supporting this move to know that it's wrong. You don't have to know
Donald Trump
anything else.
also was very happy that Scotland voted voted for moving across, and Scotland actually was almost 70% to stay. But anyway, I know one thing. If Donald Trump becomes president, I think every state should be allowed to remove itself from the union with no repercussions. At that point, I'm going to every state to vote for them to remove themselves from the union. We could just have 50 separate countries here. And man, I don't know. It's scary because it almost seemed like Donald Trump really got a chance. And if he got a chance, I mean, what does that mean for
Unless Hillary
Biden?
gets indicted, there's no way that this clown is winning anything.
Yo, the fact.
He's out of money. He's out of money. Have you watched the news and seen where his campaign coffers are he's at like 1 point something million dollars, and Hillary Clinton's sitting at $42 million.
And then did you see he just gave himself a loan?
Yeah.
He gave himself a $50 million loan, so he got more money than America.
Really?
Yo, the fact that Donald Trump even made it this far, this speaks volumes to America. Like,
Exactly. It's an
we
indictment.
got a lot of work to do right now,
It's
man.
an indictment on the conservative party.
I know. I don't know how I'm gonna react when I have Donald Trump for Kanye West for president. But at this moment, I mean, soon presidential debates is gonna be on pay-per-view.
Seriously, that's what it's looking like right now, and it's going to be it's going to cash in big on them pay-per-views, man. But Donald Trump becomes president. Yeah, I think I am voting for Kanye 2020, man. Like, I don't want to hear nothing. It seems like you don't need any type of political background to become president. Yeah, definitely. Kanye, Yeezy for president 2020, please.
Yeah.
Yeezy for president. I'm voting for
you know,
Yeezy for
I
president.
still believe this is his reality show. This is the biggest reality show ever.
This is
A
ridiculous.
guy that's running for president, and he's actually a contender. That's the biggest reality show ever.
That just shows you how bad the Republican Party is, that he's a legitimate contender. Like,
Yeah.
every presidential nominee in the Republican Party should really feel like they probably contemplating suicide, that they lost out.
They really all should, for real, man.
Like,
you lose to a reality executive producer of a reality show. That's who you lose to. That's you need to look in the mirror.
Like, I don't understand.
Ben Carson.
Ben Carson is
the doctor.
the walk-in oxymoron, and more of the moron than the oxy part. But he probably has some oxys to reach that moron mindset that he has. So it all makes sense.
Yeah.
So one thing that the news, do celebrities forget that they're celebrities sometimes? Like, do celebrities forget that when you get all that money, one thing you paying for is you lost your freedom? Like, you actually, when you become a celebrity, I feel like you're giving money away. I mean, you're getting money to give your freedom away. And I know me.
Oh, you would take it.
Oh yeah, I'll take it. I don't need no freedom. I'll take it. I mean, like I said, I'll take it and I'll give it to my servants. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Here we go.
I mean, what's wrong with one? I mean, I just feel like we all do everything.
You sounding like a slave master right now, man.
I said I'm gonna give them money. How is that a slave master? Do y'all understand? I'm gonna pay these people. I'm not talking about I'm giving nobody to work for me for free. If you cut my grass, I'm gonna pay you. If you clean my house, I'm gonna pay you. You cook my dinner, I'm gonna pay you. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying I'm not gonna pay you. I'm saying that by me paying you and having this money to pay you, if a couple paparazzis want to catch me going to McDonald's and put it on TMZ, I'm fine with that. And I know also that as a celebrity that I have now the obligation to think about what I'm saying and not do certain things anymore. If the paparazzis do things to me, it goes in one ear and out of another. I was thinking about something we were speaking about earlier, that if I was a famous person, would I get mad if if a troll said something about my kids? You know what? I probably wouldn't get mad, because I probably could make that troll one of my servants, and I'll be fine with that. It's okay.
You used the word probably a lot in that whole scenario. You didn't say, "Oh, I definitely could do this."
Well, I ain't got the money yet.
You don't know until you're put in that position what you're capable of doing.
I ain't got that.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I ain't got the money.
There's nobody out there that I'm just gonna let come up and disrespect me like that. I'm sorry, especially where your family's involved. You have to draw the line somewhere. There has to be some line of decorum left in the world. I mean, you just can't say whatever comes out of your mouth just because another person is a celebrity. I mean, you're basically giving a crutch to trolls then.
Yo, are y'all surprised that like a lot of these celebrities and athletes don't get rid of a lot of their social media outlets and things of that nature? I mean, because
it keeps them relevant.
You think so?
I think they need the trolls. I think the celebrities keep their social media outlets because they need the trolls. I think a lot of them is on social media because they looking for females, and they know that that's a good way of reaching out, because you know it goes down in the DM. You don't know these celebrities DM. We don't know what's going on there. But
a lot of celebs get outed on messing around in the DMs too. Like LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron did recently get caught sliding in somebody's DMs, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know that situation.
And the chick
could have been playing some. She could have been playing his wife in the Nets movie, LeBron James documentary. Who knows what he was doing? He didn't say nothing foul. He just acknowledged.
LeBron fan.
He was testing the waters, man.
LeBron ain't never been in it. LeBron ain't never had nothing negative about him in 13 years. Leave that man alone.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Steph just got famous and already got pictures with other females.
Yeah.
Staring at them kind of walking down on the court.
Oh yeah, you heard about this chick. I don't know how true it is. The infamous woman that was staring him down during the Golden State game, the Golden State home game. They're talking about investigating her for a prostitution ring.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
that's at the same time she getting paid.
That's an Instagram model for you.
She's an Instagram model and she's making it. She's getting paid now. She's hosting events. She's holding events, hosting events.
Well, there's a way.
Is there anything wrong with that though? I mean, Bryce, let me ask you because I know how Gene feels. If you was a woman, would you be a thought?
If I was a woman, would I be a thought?
Yes.
Probably not. Wow, that's a tough question. First of all, it's kind of hard to imagine myself as a woman. I mean, no, if I was a woman, I don't think I would be a thought. I think I would be more of like the Michelle Obama type, trying to inspire women around the world and whatnot, instead of just going to be giving it up to everybody. So yeah, nah, I wouldn't be no thought.
What about you, G? Would you be a thought if you was a woman? I'd be crushing people for real. I'd be crushing world leaders would be bowing down to me. Women have so much power and they don't realize the power that they possess.
And that's why we men, because we ain't got that power. But yeah. I feel like if I was a woman, I'll be a clean thought. I'll be clean. I'll have my standards.
It would be lucrative.
Like I would try to get I wouldn't go after like Steph Curry. He's married, but Ben Simmons would be wide open. You know what I mean? Like I would be that kind of woman, just like
James. Like you could go after a James Harden, then, huh?
Nah, I don't know.
I'm just playing, man. Let's.
I was just talking about the age. I was just talking about the age.
This is getting uncomfortable. Let's change direction now.
Well, if I was a woman, I'd be a thought, but I'd be a rich thought. So that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
With some servants already.
Yeah, we're back on that again, huh?
Okay, so the topic of the day is this. This is something serious to me because I got kids, and I was a kid once, and I think a lot of people watching at one point in their life was a kid. I would hope, unless you're a clone like Gucci Mane. But do y'all feel like the government sometimes put their nose where it don't belong when it comes to raising kids and making laws about how you can discipline your kid and what repercussions that may come if something goes wrong while disciplining your kid? I feel like I read a story the other day about a woman who came home and saw that her 3 sons, ages 13, 12, and 10, had broken into a neighbor's house. And when she walked in, she seen that they stole stuff, so she whooped their ass like they should have got a whooping. One of them got hurt somehow, and he should have been hurt somehow. And we don't know exactly what happened, but they should have got their ass whooped. I commend that mom for doing what she had to do. But her kids have been taken from her, and their dad is in jail. Her kids were taken away from her, and she actually went to jail for this. I feel like the government has no say so in what goes on in that house, especially when it comes to justifiable punishment. Whereas if they were caught in that house by the people who lived there, their heads could have been blown off legally, or those cops could have done something far worse and punished those kids and put them in the system and marked them with felonies on their record where they 18 years old and now they got to struggle to get jobs because they have records and they have breaks from being socially normal because they spent time in juvenile detention homes and things of that nature. And sometimes the government just needs to stay the fuck out. Now, go ahead.
No, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when the U.S. government has the type of power that it has, and they're reaching into the homes, we already see enough incarceration of black kids, today. And this just kind of magnifies what's going on. When a single parent, a mom who is at work has to come home and take care of the discipline of her sons, I mean, she's doing what's right. That's what's right. And I'll argue this with anybody because I tell you what, if she had come home and said, oh, it's all right, and gave them a pass, I can guarantee you within a couple of years they would be doing something else and something far worse could happen. It's just, because of where they are and because of who they are, there's that stigma. So it's bad that the government had stepped in. I mean, I'm sure there are other examples. This just happens to be the one example that we've seen. And yes, absolutely, the government does overstep its boundaries. I feel like there are parents out there that are on the streets that are letting their kids run wild and are not having to answer for anything. But here's this woman trying to do the right thing, and she ends up going to jail and losing her kids. That's horrible.
And on top of that, it's not even like it was some serious form of punishment. This is normal. How certain parents punish their kids. You do something bad, you get an ass whooping. That's how I grew up. That's how simple it was. And the government taking the kids away for, I'm assuming it was a child abuse they tried to charge you with and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like some of this stuff is ridiculous, man.
It don't make sense. And I'm gonna ask you this, Bryce. Do you remember where I met you at? You was kid.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, real young, and y'all wouldn't take me nowhere with y'all, so forget you.
Nope. Do you remember where I used to see you at? I used to see you at church. Your family is a church-going family.
Mm-hmm.
When you just said you got ass whoopings.
Yeah, a lot.
and ain't nothing wrong with that. And I feel like I don't believe now. Isn't this funny? I have this stance. I'm not saying that ass whooping is wrong or right. That's not what I'm trying to debate about. Because I don't give none of my kids whoopings. I don't personally give them whoopings. Now they do something bad, I'll be like, I'm telling your mama to whoop your ass, but I'm not gonna be that bad guy. I've always been that way, and I'm fine with that.
I feel
now
you.
let me throw this twist in here for you guys, because we're talking about what's right within the justice system. How about the fact that a police officer can get away with murder, can just walk away and be found not guilty for murder,
on multiple occasions.
On multiple occasions, killing people, killing citizens that they're supposed to be out there protecting, and yet this woman is trying to discipline her kids so they don't end up in this horrible system that is the United States justice system, and she's the one that ends up in trouble. I think it's disgusting.
You know why? I think the government do it? I just figured it out right now. I just figured everything out right now as we speak. Why the government don't want us to whoop our kids? Because they want more targets, and the more good kids, the less people they can kill legally. So they have to. It's a conspiracy. They need our kids to be bad, and that's the only logical or semi-logical explanation I can have for it. Is because they want us to have to bury our kids, or they want us to have to bury our kids, and they don't want us to be the ones that kill the kids. Actually, if we probably killed our kids, they would say it's black on black crime.
Yeah.
But
yep.
Which is ludicrous. But when they kill our brothers, sisters, or our kids, I mean, I got kids nowadays that could be, it's self-defense while somebody running from you.
Yep, back totally turned to you.
They running away from you. You shoot them in the back, but it was self-defense.
Yeah, because you feared for your life.
They fear for their life. That was just what I was about to say.
What did a rock kick them off the ground and hit you in the eyeball, and that's why you feel? I don't understand that. But it's just it's the world we live in. But we still live in the best country in the world for at least the next 6 months. And I'll take it. But it's just sad to see, and it's something that you hear over and over. It's a common thing on this show that racism is alive, and it's funny because when you bring up racism to people who don't understand it, some of the reactions I get when I bring up different issues that we face as being African American, they don't get it. Like the light skin, dark skin thing. Go try to find somebody who's not African American and bring that topic up, and watch how confused they look. They look confused. They don't understand. When you bring up racism, they don't think that those things happen. When you go to a store and you know that the person keep asking you, can they help you just because they're trying to watch you because they think you're stealing, they don't understand it because they never had to live it. And it's so funny how it's comical how they don't understand. Like, I understand that there's differences in races. I'm not racist by no means, but like I said before, if I'm walking in the hood at night and I got 4 white dudes on one side and 4 black dudes on the other side, I'm walking on the side of the street with the white dudes. I might be wrong. They might jump me. I don't know.
Wrong.
But that's the side of the street I'm walking on from my personal experiences, because they probably going to look at me and say, how you doing, bro? And the black dude's going to be like, yo, I like that watch. And I have to be, I understand this. I'm not racist. I love I love people. I'm a person that gives you trust before I trust you when I meet you. You have to lose that trust for me not to trust you.
Yo, let me comment on that real quick. All right, cause it's a bunch of different levels with that situation there. Just taking that perspective, the sidewalk thing. If I'm walking on the sidewalk, first of all, it depends on the type of neighborhood I'm in, and the black people. Like, if I'm walking in the middle on the sidewalk and I see 4 black dudes walking on that, and then the other side is 4 white dudes, I'm going to continue the path I'm walking on, because I'm not about to let any man put fear in my heart. Like Big said, man, niggas bleed just like us, man. So, first of all, that whole situation, I'll never fear for no stuff like that.
You like 6'8", 250. I'm not worried either.
But you hear what he's saying, though, and that's the mentality that we should have. For real, I'm gonna agree with Bryce on this one here, man. And like I told you the last time, and we talked about this the last time, I said I would keep on the same path. I'm not gonna go over on the other side, because you know what? The police could show up at that moment, and they're like, "Oh, this guy tried to rob me," and then you know what? Then what?
Exactly.
I'll take my chance.
I'm taking my chances with the brothers. That's just me.
And more than likely, I'm gonna dap them all up too.
Exactly.
Man. If say you're not from the town, Bryce, we talking about home, something we both very familiar with, and you a visitor, and you walking down 9th and Wild. Where are you walking?
I'm wondering why I'm even on 9th and Wild. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out.
Lost, obviously.
Am I trying to get to the falls right now? Because
the casino.
I should have made a left when I made that right. Nah, but listen, I hear what you're saying though. Like, but we feed into the stereotype of
exactly.
You know,
unfortunately, most stereotypes are based on truths. That's why they exist. I think most stereotypes.
So all black people are lazy?
I think stereotypes. All
black people are on welfare?
I think stereotypes are there because we keep feeding into them.
Yeah.
And if we keep feeding into those type of stereotypes, then they're never going to go away. So, like, for instance, like they're saying, like the whole situation that, using the same example, the black people are walking on the sidewalk. So, am I walking on the sidewalk thinking, well, oh my, these guys are going to be trouble here for me, so I better go ahead and cross the street to the white guys? Nah, I'm not. I can't feed into that stereotype any longer, man. I'm fighting that stereotype.
Maybe it's because where I'm from, most of the grimy people I've met in my life happen to be black. But I'm from a community where, I mean, you got to remember, I lived in the projects in a bad town, and when you grow up in that with those kind of people, my friends, we was all we was. It's funny because I don't consider myself a bad kid, but we was bad kids. We was in the drugs and girls and stuff at a very young age, very young age. Like, I was the oldest out of my group, but I'm like 16, 17 years old, and our day was filled of drugs, gambling, and finding females, and I'm the oldest.
And let me ask you this: the guys that you're talking about, the 4 black men that you're talking about, how do you know they're not college graduates and they're just, dressed casually? They're just chilling. This is just, they're not in their suits, normal attire, but they're just chilling, on the side, just talking, maybe waiting for somebody else.
It's the programming of I blame the media and things of that for this.
But you're the
we've
one
been programmed.
Breaking the cycle.
It's all of us though. It's all of us though. If I told you now,
you're the one that's responsible for breaking the cycle though.
19-year-old black kid, what is he wearing? I'm just gonna say that. The mental image that everybody who heard me just say that, I guarantee you, was of an urban youth with either baggy jeans, probably a hat, and that's the image that just came to all of our heads.
Nah, not me. A 19-year-old black kid nowadays is wearing skinny jeans and snapbacks, man. This is not the same.
Maybe a skirt.
Yeah,
Possibly.
And I agree, but we all had that hip hop idea.
Let's rewind.
None of us put him in a business suit.
Well, let's rewind for a second here. Obviously, they were dressed in a way that made you want to walk across the street.
I never said that.
So, no. That's based on what you're saying here. You said that if you see 4 of these guys or whatever, you're going to go across and you take your chance on the other. I'm guessing, based on what you said, that we're talking about somebody that's dressed casual, that's dressed, with that stereotypical, what do you want to call? I don't know what you want to call it, But like I said, man, they could be guys that just they're off work, they're dressed casual, they're ready to
It could be somebody
kick it
like
for the
me.
night.
It
Yeah.
could be somebody like me. I got tattoos and I dress, I think appropriate for my age. But I do know that when people first see me, their mindset of me, I have to work a little bit harder for people to accept me. I think people can accept me pretty quickly. For some reason, everybody like me. I don't know why people like me, but people gravitate toward me, and I can see that. And I just got a message right now from a viewer that said I'm an Uncle Ruckus. I don't like black people.
Oh.
And I have to address that to that viewer because I feel like Uncle Ruckus didn't like black people. I've never said that. I hope more for African American people or anybody. I'm one of the most liberal minds out there, but I'm not dumb. There's differences that's been passed on from our parents, our ancestors, that's gotten us where if you tell me that equal does not mean the same. People have that messed up mentality that equal means the same. It doesn't.
Equality doesn't mean justice.
Equality doesn't mean the same. And with that being said, there's a difference in black people and white people. Now, there may be some white people that cross over one way or some black
Are you
people that
talking
cross
what
over
kind
the
of
other.
difference? Are we talking cultural differences?
Cultural differences, correct.
Let's be specific there.
Yes. As far as cultural, how we interact with each other, the things that we find entertaining, the things that we do, the things that even as little things as what we're naturally attracted to, and there's differences, and that's because of that's brought down from our parents and their parents and their parents. And if you're ignorant to that, you're like, oh, everybody's the same. White people, black people, Mexican people, they're all the same. No, they're not. Black people don't have quinces. I'm not saying that we're different. We just don't celebrate the same things, and we don't see things the same way. It doesn't. I hate how people's like this guy said I'm Uncle Ruckus. It actually got me kind of upset that I'm Uncle Ruckus because I acknowledge the fact that there's differences between black people, white people, Mexican people, Chinese people. Chinese people, Asian people tend to do better in school because that's a very, very huge thing in the household. It's not because they naturally smarter. Hell no, they all got to work the same way we do. They just tend to work harder because it's passed down from their parents. So I don't think I'm an Uncle Ruckus because I acknowledge the fact that black people tend to be different than white people, especially
I think your scenario.
struggling black people.
I think your scenario kind of led to that comment.
But my scenario is based on what I've learned and what experiences I've had.
Yeah, that's your personal experiences. I got you.
Right.
I've been in plenty fights in my life, and I never fought somebody that was white. Coincidence? I don't think so. It's not a coincidence. I've gotten arguments with white people, but I've never fought somebody that was white. Every time I ever had to defend myself or was even upset to the point where I wanted to fight was with a black person. And these were my friends and people I was around every day. I seen the shit we did when we was kids. We was some bad kids. I will not want my kids nowhere near. If one of my daughter's friends, boyfriends ever remind me of anybody in my group, he's banned from existence. He doesn't exist anymore. He can't remind me of nobody in my group. And I had good kids in my group. I had a friend. I won't say any names, and Bryce, if you know anybody I'm speaking of, don't say any names. But I have a friend who, when I met him, was a baseball player, basketball player, one of the best bowling phenomenons out there. He rode a 299 when he was a kid, and to this day, he's, I think, probably still hustling. And it's just the environment I'm from. You either gonna fall or you gonna hustle and get what you got to do. But we was all black, and I seen what we resorted to. Good kids gone bad. Product of your environment. Call it what you want to.
Yo, real quick. Let me make a comment real quick, because how I like to look at things now. When I reach a certain age, I'm 24 years old right now, and I reach a certain age where I start to look at a lot of things differently, especially in the environment and whatnot. And I used to do a lot of stereotyping when I was younger and putting black people in a certain category, white people in a certain category, based upon race, based upon how they look and things like that. But then I started to finally think, and I'm educating myself and I'm reading and I'm watching the videos and the news and stuff like that. And I started to give people a chance, like, because, you know, first impressions is everything, of course, but at the same time, you can't judge a book by its cover. The old saying, you cannot judge a book by its cover. And I'm starting to take the time to, okay, I'm not about to judge this person based upon how they look. Let me talk to this person. Let me find out more about this person, who they are. And I mean, I met a lot of good people in my life who, if I just look at them, I'm like, oh, I know he's probably going to be trouble. And then I actually talk to that person, and I'm like, man, this brother is deep. Or, hey, this white dude, he's a cool dude right now. Like, I never
What
thought
was
in a
your
million
first
years.
impression though?
It don't matter. See, I've gotten past that. I've gotten past that now. Like, my first
And you're
impression,
wise beyond your years, man.
my first impression on somebody doesn't matter anymore. Like, I could look at somebody and be like, well, you know, this person looks like this, but hey, let me go talk to this brother real quick, see what he about. So I've gotten past that first impression type thing.
Okay. Now listen to this though. Now, if you don't mind sharing, how tall are you?
6'1".
And how much you weigh?
Actually, I'm down to a new low. I weigh myself today. I'm at 254.5.
Now, when people see you and meet you, now you're one of the nicest people I know.
Thank you.
But when people first meet and see you, are people intimidated by you?
Some are, and a lot of times, I can.
Does it irritate you?
No, not at all, because I can understand it. I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1", 250 pounds.
But that's why. You think they're gonna be?
And I'm black. I'm
So it matters.
So I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but at the same time, like you were saying before, like I'm one of those people where people generally like me, especially when they get to know me, they gravitate towards me.
Yeah.
And you give me 1 or 2 minutes of your time to sit and talk, and I'm gonna change your whole perspective.
What about the people who don't give you 1 or 2 minutes?
Those people, fuck them. Simple as that. You can't change everybody.
There you go.
And that's where my thing is if you try to say if you're ignorant to the differences between us, then you setting yourself up for
well, as long as you don't let that you can know that, but you can't let it handicap you. You know, you have to move past that. You know, and you're not, like he said, you're not going to be able to please or get to know everybody, but the people that you do get to know, you leave that lasting impression with those people. I experience that all the time. You know, here in Phoenix, you know, I go to a movie theater, and I guarantee you, ain't nobody going to sit by me in a movie theater. And you know, I don't care. That's their choice. You know what? If it were me, and I saw somebody like me, I mean, oh, that's a good seat. I'm going to sit right there so I can enjoy this movie. Oh, no, but that's, you know, if somebody's mindset is that way, I can't help that. And maybe you don't know what their past experiences are. You know, we're talking about experiences. We don't know what their past experiences are. Maybe they haven't had a lot of exposure to black people. Maybe something happened. You just don't know, and you can't judge them because you don't know their history. You don't know what they've been through. So, you know, I understand that you're going to run across people that are going to have those type of stereotypes, but at the same time, you're going to have a lot more people that are open-minded to get to know you. So, you know, that's kind of, I'm on the same page with Bryce here on that, in that people are people. And all you can do is get to know the people that are willing to get to know you. Anybody else is their loss.
Okay, I got a caller. Somebody actually is begging to make a comment, and I'm gonna let them comment. We didn't got our line set up, so I apologize if everybody have trouble hearing, but hopefully not. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Can y'all hear the caller?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
All right, what do you got to say?
You are a Uncle Ruckus for sure, 100%.
And how do you feel that way? Now, let me ask you this. Do you know me personally? I take it. Do I have African American friends?
Listen, you have African American friends that you have African American friends that you're comfortable with because that's just what you're comfortable with them. But anytime it comes with a new black person, you judge them, you stereotype them, and you say you will walk on another side of the street because you're afraid of walking on the same side of the street of somebody with the same pigment as you.
Let me ask you a question. do I or do I not have a very, very, very accurate judge of character when it comes to people?
No.
There was a lot of hesitation there. I'm sure you've called me for my own expertise of how I felt about somebody and how I read somebody. Am I correct?
Yeah, but that's after speaking with people. You cannot. Those expertise can't kick in if you're walking down the street and you see 4 people on this side, 4 people on that side.
I can read somebody's body language. And what I'm saying is I might be able to walk down either side of the street fine, and I have no issue with either one. I'm playing my odds because I know that
Wow.
I'm playing. Hold on, listen. I'm playing my odds because I know from my own personal experience, even with my group of friends, when we were 16, 17, 18 years old, I always had that one friend that
You
was
can't
an idiot.
generalize a race of people, though.
I'm not generalizing. I'm saying
You
I
are
could probably
generalizing. That's
I
based
could
on what you
probably
said.
I could probably walk down the
See,
street.
and now you have to say definitely. You're saying probably, so there's a little bit of doubt in your comment.
Listen to this. So by your explanation of that, you're telling me that it is justifiable for a white cop to shoot down a black person because of what you're saying by your instincts and your judge of character. That's the same thing a white cop is using and getting away with killing black people.
Nowhere near.
Like,
That's if I would have said I'm gonna walk down the street and I'm gonna shoot the niggas across the street, then I could say, okay, yeah, I didn't say that. I said I'm trying to avoid altercations and stop anything like that from happening. I'm not saying it's justifiable to take a life or start any kind of violence.
the overall
You're reaching. You're reaching.
It's not about you
You're
trying
reaching.
to avoid it. The bigger picture is you.
You're reaching with Anthony Davis arms right now. You're reaching.
You're stereotyping. And that's the same thing with white
We
people.
all stereotype.
You say, oh, you're saying, oh, I've been around enough black people.
We all stereotype.
I can read their body language, so I know that they're up to something. So let me avoid that. So what the cops saying, the cops have the same mentality, but they're law. So it's like, you know what? I've been around enough black people. I know they're up to something, and he might have a gun on him. So let me shoot him before he shoot me.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same. Cops use that as a defense after the fact. They look for that issue. They use it for defense after the fact.
I want to hear what your panel got to say about that.
No, I'm gonna let them speak. Go ahead and speak, y'all. And thank you for calling in, caller. Go have a very nice day and not be racist and something. Everything that happens to you can happen to you.
Hey, Bryce, you can go first, man.
I want to hear what you say, actually.
Charles, based on what he was saying and what you were saying, you're generalizing a race of people. You're generalizing both races of people, basically. When you're talking about making a choice because you want to avoid altercation, you've pretty much generalized that anybody that has a certain body language is capable of doing this without getting to know them. And and I mean, I'm just kind of going by what you were talking with the caller about. And as I mentioned before, I've been I grew up in North Boulevard Homes in Tampa. We had an area called the Crazy Cut, and you walk through there, and anything can happen. Anything can happen, and I guess my mind doesn't work like yours because I feel like people are people. And I would be fine walking down the street towards a group of black men because I don't know them. I don't know what's going on. Now, if they were out there fighting, it would be different. If they were fighting or something was going on, then I would avoid that conflict. But anything other than that, I would keep going the same direction I was going. And how do you know those other guys across the street aren't Klansmen that are just happen to be cleanly dressed Klansmen? You don't know what you got on the other side of the street. So
now what's interesting is this, and I'm gonna show you how what our stigma, how our minds work. I never mentioned what the white guys was wearing. I never said
that's what I'm saying.
Cut.
Yeah.
But the assumption is that everybody watching had Or that they were cleanly cut white guys and a bunch of ghetto people, black
And you know
people.
what I base? You know what I base that on? You want to know what I base that on?
Go ahead.
The fact that you're more comfortable walking across the street to deal with these guys as opposed to dealing with the guys on this side of the street. Your scenario is what I'm basing my comments on, not anything that I'm consciously or subconsciously feeling. It's based on what you're saying. Based on what you're saying, okay, these guys are safer on this side as opposed to these guys on this side, and that's what I get out of it.
I feel like I would probably be fine walking on each side of the street, but even when it comes to differences in races and stuff like that, now it's all speculation. But crack cocaine, for instance, was created by the gangs after Prohibition. And
Wait a minute, what?
well, you heard what I did? Nah, I said that on purpose. Go ahead, correct me. I want you to. Go ahead. I want you. You walking right. You walking right where I want you.
I ain't jumping in that rabbit hole. Go right ahead. But
No.
Yeah, I heard from Bryce.
We know where crack cocaine came from.
Yeah, we do, most definitely.
And it was used to control black people. And the way it was used was
by the way, listeners, there is documentation to back up what Charles is saying. But go ahead.
So, and the lawmakers made at one time, if you had a gram of crack cocaine, you had a gram of coke. And you got caught, and two people got caught with the same amount of the substances. The person who had the crack cocaine would get a punishment 7 times harder than the person with coke. The price of crack cocaine was much cheaper than the price of coke. So the person who had the crack was normally a lot different than the person who had the coke. Now everyone can sit here and cry it's a coincidence, but the crimes was being committed and it was different crimes. When it comes to when you talk about a poor person robbing someone, a black person robbing somebody, they're probably robbing them for a couple $100 or whatever they got in their pocket, or they taking their chain or their watch. When you think about white people robbing, you thinking about Enron. And it was a much worse crime. He took more money than any single black man could rob off a single person in a lifetime. And with that being said is, I'm not saying that one group is more deviant than the other group. The potential for deviance is the same between both the white and the black people. What I'm saying is the type of deviance and the things that may be done and the ways that they commit their crimes, the crimes that they commit, favors, and I guarantee I don't have any studies in front of me, and I can, if anybody wants some, hit me up on Twitter. I will provide you with facts. Favors the fact that if I'm gonna get robbed at gunpoint or somebody try to run my pocket or snatch my chain, I'm probably making the right decision walking on that side of the street. Now, if I got a credit card on me and they got some credit card skimmers in their pocket, the other side of the street is probably the wrong mistake, the wrong way to walk. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that one's worse than the other. I'm saying I would have a better chance walking on one side. Whereas if it was a white guy, I think I would probably look at him funny, like, why the fuck did you walk over here? You see all of us standing over here. Is you a cop? Like, why is you on this side of the street? And it's just because it's differences, man. We equal, but it's differences.
But yo, Charles,
you done totally changed that scenario all the way around from what you originally.
How?
Because you did. Now you're adding more to it. If you'd have left
I'm contemplating. I'm explaining my mind state when I make that decision.
Okay.
That's what I was doing.
That's you. That's based on your experience. I respect that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No, good. I hear what you're saying, man, but I mean that's a little bit too in depth. Like, I mean, you playing a probability now. Like, is it more probable for me to get hurt walking on this side of the street as of to going across this side of the street? And honestly, I'm just like, that's too much. Like, I mean, I'm walking on the side of a street. Like, I get to get to my destination. I don't care who's walking. Like you said, Gene. I like that scenario you said. if I see a bunch of black dudes fighting on that side of the street, then maybe I'm gonna go ahead and cross the street. If I see a bunch of white dudes fighting on that side of the street, I'm probably gonna stay away from that side of the street. Like honestly, like I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah.
I got a question for y'all then. Do y'all feel if y'all go to a club, not you, Gene, because I know how you feel, because you definitely love people. You love people. I don't want to take that away from you, and you give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But if you go to a club and it's all white people and it's all black people, the music at the one club is more generally what mid-30s to late, mid-30s, 50-year-old music to the music of that community in comparison to the music of the urban community. The same age people in there. Do you feel safer in one club or the other? Do you feel the same, like something may pop off at either one?
Personally, I would use discretion before I go to any club. I know anything can happen. I understand that, but no, I would feel fine if I'm comfortable enough to pay my money and go in there. I'm comfortable enough to try not to worry about a whole lot. That's because I've gone to clubs from here to Atlanta, Miami, and I've never run into any problems. And it's just where I feel comfortable going. If I'm comfortable enough to spend money to walk in there and get drinks, then I'm good.
We had to go ahead, Bryce.
I agree with Gene on that one as well. And real quick with the whole club situation and things of that nature. Actually, I kind of feel more comfortable going into a more urban club because, in my experiences at the so-called black clubs, they're the ones that's actually patting people pockets down and making sure they're not carrying any weapons.
Why though?
When I go to like a white club or something like that, normally I just walk right in, pay my $5, pay my $10, and walk right in. So more than likely, it could be somebody carrying in that club than the other one. But why they pat their pockets down is because there's been situations where people are carrying guns or they're carrying knives into those type of urban environments and things of that nature. So I understand it, and a lot of times you're not seeing that. But I mean, God rest their souls. We just seen what happened in Orlando recently down there in that whole situation. I'm not saying that the dude walked in there with a gun and they didn't pat him down or nothing like that, but I'm just saying like that didn't happen at a black club.
They didn't pat him down, but he was a regular, and he probably knew the people at the door because he's been going to that club for years. So he definitely
and they did have an armed
out.
guard, too. Mm-hmm. So that's that part of the scenario as well. But no, man, It is what it is, and like I said, if you feel comfortable enough to go there, if you have any apprehensions, maybe you should really think twice about going to a club like that.
I agree. 100%.
That's what it all comes down to is your level of comfort.
Yeah, I think that that people is the same but they're different. I mean, people is equal but different, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that being conscious of that. It just makes you smarter. And I think being ignorant of the fact that people are different but equal could put you in a bind at some point in life.
I agree with that. Yeah, people, like you said, people are different, definitely. And now I'm hoping that what people are starting to make the change of doing is not being ignorant towards that statement, like you said, and trying to understand how other people's minds may think or how other cultures are how they carry themselves and things of that nature. So
I think slowly but surely you're seeing more and more of it. It's not going to happen overnight because we all know, what the history of America has been up to this point. And, in the grand scheme of things, the United States is a very young country compared to the rest of the world. So things are always evolving and changing, and it's just going to take time to get to where we're going. So that's something that we also have to keep in mind. And as long as we have an open mind and we can teach our kids and we can teach friends the same things that we know, I think that we can slowly make things better as well.
I 100% agree. Eventually, the whole world gonna look like Steph Curry, and everybody gonna be happy. But we ain't at that point yet.
Yeah, I read that in Time magazine. They were saying that by 2050, everybody's gonna be khaki colored.
Yeah, once that time happens, then I mean, I feel sad because it's gonna be a very sensitive world. But Everybody get around. Everybody get along. So
Everybody gonna look like Drake. Is that what you're saying? Wow.
yo,
Hopefully,
yo.
I'll be long gone by then. I ain't trying to be around a bunch of Drakes.
Everybody gonna be crying all the time, but it's alright. But
The shade at light skins is unbelievable.
while we were sitting here talking about this, you just brought up something, G. I'm gonna jump subjects real quick before we wrap up. Kind of wrapping about to our topic. Do you believe that African American houses believe in spankings because of slavery? You think there's a link there?
That's a good question.
Oh, I can speak from experience. My father, if he hadn't disciplined me, I'd be doing a 25-year stretch, I'm pretty sure, because I had criminal tendencies growing up. And, you know, he got at me when he needed to. My mom got at me when I needed to, and they showed me right from wrong. And it worked out to the point where I didn't have to be around my parents to know, man, maybe I shouldn't do this. And it made me think twice about it. And I'm sorry, I don't think slavery had anything to do with that. I don't think it's making somebody subservient. I think it's helping people to understand there are consequences for doing things that you know. If you know right from wrong and you decide to do wrong, there are consequences. So I think that's more of the lesson and this is just, for me personally, my experience. I feel like if my parents had not disciplined me, once again, I would definitely be in the pen or something to that effect.
Yeah, I agree with Gene on that one as well. Yeah, growing up myself, you know, my mom beat the black off me, and
Did she?
my uncles and my aunts, and I got plenty of ass whoopings, and it definitely shaped me into the man that I am today. You know, along with the life lessons I learned along the way as well. But yeah, I can understand the correlation that you can link between the two of getting a spanking, connecting that back to slavery. I
think that we've seen so many people. Like, I think like our ancestors saw that when slaves got whippings, they were more obedient, and I think that's something that may have been more of a trend that was passed down because of seeing how when you was a slave and got whippings.
Now let me flip that. Let me flip that just for a second here. Do you ever see kids that you feel like, man, how do their parents let them get away with this? Why aren't their parents doing anything? Do you think that stern talking to works for every kid? Go stand in the corner works for every kid. You're in timeout. If my parents would have put me in timeout, I would have dreamed up all kind of crazy stuff to do as soon as I got out of timeout. Okay.
And I agree. And that's why I go back.
That's just how my mind works. If I'm sitting there in the corner, I've got time to be scheming like, well, I'm gonna get my sister back for telling on me, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get her back. You know, that just stupid stuff like that. But I just feel like, you know, once again, I got discipline. It needed to happen. I'm glad it happened, and I'll stand toe to toe and debate anybody about discipline. Some kids it may work on, other kids it doesn't work on. And that's what it all comes down to.
And here's a situation that was brought to me earlier, where I have an individual who gave a spanking to their grandson, and their grandson was actually removed from the custody of his mom for 6 to 8 months. And that individual said that he understood and agreed with the government for making that decision, based on the fact that the kid, not because he gave him the spanking, but because the kid, after he had a mark on him, told his teachers that he got over 100 spankings, and that's why he says that they took him away. And my whole feeling on that is, if you're an adult and a kid told you I got 100 spankings, I still would tend to think that that's an exaggeration. And I would speak to the parents and ask, why did the kid get a spanking in the first place? Oh, he caught the teacher a motherfucker and told him to die. That kid probably should have got a spanking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how when I was little.
And what I'm saying is I don't think that and I felt really confused that the person said, well, the government's just doing their job, and I'm thinking they still walking on toes, even though the kid said that. The kid had a mark and said, I get over 100 spankings. Then at that point, you reach out to the person that gave the spanking and said what happened, and at that point, you can make an educated hypothesis on what happened and what needs to be done. Yes, there are people who abuse their kids. I can just say that agree with that, and those people need to be punished. But I don't think that if you whoop your kids for robbing somebody's house or you whoop your kids because they bad and they happen to get a mark. I mean, think about this. Y'all both said y'all got spankings. Could y'all imagine if your parent had to have you stand still, aim for one spot on your body that was covered in clothes, and make sure they didn't hit you hard enough to leave a mark? Would those spankings have been effective in any way?
Not at
No,
all.
I'd probably been asleep trying to get all that whole scenario worked out.
Like, I know he got to aim right here, so let me just make sure I tighten up right here. And I'm not going to move. It ain't going to hurt anyway.
Extra padding.
And their argument was the law says corporal punishment is legal. You just can't leave any marks. Let's be logical. If you're giving a kid a good ass whooping, there's going to be some marks there. And it's going to happen. And you got to deal with it, and the law need to deal with it and mind their own business. They can't.
I go back to excessive force. So police officers can get away with excessive force in bringing somebody in, get away with shooting somebody in the back, get away with a person dying in police custody. I mean, there's so many different things that you see. I mean, what about the parents that are buying alcohol or supplying their kids with marijuana? I mean, what about these parents? You know, that's just
and with that being, even with that being said, most people buy their kids. Like, if you got a 14-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, and you having some wine coolers, some Smirnoffs, and you decide that your kid is responsible enough to drink a wine cooler, and you give them one, I feel like that's your choice. You're the parent. You know that kid. You are the best person to make that choice for that kid. If a kid is 15, 16 years old, a male especially, is 15 or 16 years old, and they end up dating a woman that's 22 years old, and you see that this is a good woman for your son, and you make the conscious, educated decision that this is okay, I don't think it's the government's place to say, oh, it's not. I know plenty of 16-year-old, 15, 16-year-old kids that are much more equipped to deal with life than 30-year-old grown people. And I think that's the parents' decision to make. It's not the government's decision to make those decisions on the kids. I think that the government oversteps their boundaries and try to have control over how we raise our kids. And then what I'm thinking is, as soon as something go wrong and this kid go shoot up a school because they never been disciplined, and the first time their teacher yelled at them, or the first time they told no by a person in school, and they shoot up the school, then all of a sudden it's, oh, the parents didn't do their job. The parents over here, they needed to discipline them kids. They should have gave them some butt whoopings. The same people that say you can't do it, and I think it's ludicrous. I think that you can't agree with the government having this kind of power.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And I think that's where people need to be more involved with the community. They need to be more involved with politics, because what you have, the government you have right now, is because of people being asleep at the wheel and not being more involved with what's going on, being able to vote and stuff like that. And that's where corruption was able to creep in, and we're stuck with what we have right now.
Well, the problem is this. Here's the problem with this, Gene. I see you as a very educated individual, and I think you are very you have your arms wrapped around the government and things of that nature and policies. And anybody educated sees the candidates and they thinking the same way you are. Like, what the hell? I'm not voting for neither one of these motherfuckers. And with that being said, who's voting then? If the educated people was like both of these people was crazy, who's voting and making a decision at the end of the day?
The uneducated and the misinformed.
Or the people that's trying to say, okay, this is better for me. And that's why Donald Trump has a real chance of becoming president of the United
And just
States.
like Bryce said, man, this earlier in the show, I mean, Donald Trump being the the presumptive presidential candidate, I mean, that speaks volumes about the Conservative Party. I mean, going all the way back to the 60s, and I get sick of this argument. I'm going to get on a tangent here for a second. I had somebody tell me that the Republican Party was the party for that backed to get civil rights change. Yeah, that may be, but then you had the Southern strategy that came along with your Strom Thurmonds and people like Barry Goldwater, who basically flipped from being a Republican flipped from being a Democrat to Republican, brought the Republican Party into power, blah, 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 blah. My point is, People need to do their homework. People need to go back, not just what you're seeing.
Why do we even have Democratic parties? Is what I don't understand.
Why do we have parties? Because it's tradition. There should be no parties at all. It should be each person running on their platform, not a party platform. And I think that would change everything.
I agree. I don't understand.
There's so much corporate greed right now, and there's such a corrupt system that it's not going to happen. I mean, unless something major happens, it's not going to happen.
And Bryce, you're a lot younger than us. So how do you feel about this presidential election?
Personally, well, I voted for Bernie Sanders, in the primary. And so, I mean, it didn't happen. So now it's like one of those things like, okay, so I can choose between Hillary and I can choose between Donald. And I'm not even looking at it at the aspect of, well, who's better. I'm looking at it as, well, who's less worse. You know what I mean?
The lesser of the lesser.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, man, like, how do I choose? And I was talking to my cousin about this, and I'm actually seriously considering not voting this year.
Bryce, can I make a suggestion? There's one suggestion. I voted for Jill Stein in 2012. Jill Stein is probably about as close to Bernie Sanders as any of these candidates, to be very honest. Bernie Sanders was very much associated with the Green Party early on. That because she's was not able to get on the ballots here in Arizona, I can't vote for her. But that's somebody that you might want to look at. If you're voting your conscience, you check out all the candidates, including the Green Party, just to see what their platform is. Her platform may be a little bit more liberal than even Bernie Sanders. So, I mean, there are other candidates out there, not just Hillary and Donald, but there are other people to consider if you want to consider voting your conscience.
What I was thinking is why, and I'm pretty sure it will happen because the presidential election has become a media spectacle these days.
It's the greatest reality TV show ever.
Why and who? Not why, because I know it's going to happen. But what person is going to look at the fact that a lot of people don't want to vote for neither one of these candidates and run as an independent and really legitimately have a chance of winning? I mean, right now, if John Cena was to run for president, people are going to listen to him because it's like, dang, I got Donald Trump and I got Hillary Clinton. Let me hear what John Cena got to say because he might make the most sense to me because he's not as crazy as neither one of these two. And I'm thinking that I don't know how it will work, but if someone else, a celebrity, even more importantly, a celebrity was to say, I'm gonna run for president. Like if Kanye was to come out right now and say I'm running for president, I'm probably gonna listen to what he got to say because I'm not really feeling too tough with neither one of the candidates. I think Hillary Clinton is a yes man right now and just saying what people want to hear, not really what she feel. Yeah. I think Donald Trump is saying what he feel, which I can respect to some extent.
It's scary as shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And with that being said, my ear is open to another candidate right now. Yeah. And I know someone's gonna make that move. Mark Cuban, go ahead and run for president. Go ahead. I'm gonna listen to you. I know you got some crazy ideas too, but I'm gonna listen to what you got to say. And at this point, it's almost like, dang, maybe we need to reevaluate presidential.
I really do believe the party should be stripped away. I think people should run as individuals. Run on your platform. This is what I plan to do to help America. Not my party. I may work with gun control, stuff like that, because parties shouldn't be pressuring people into making decisions that they do. Just like the Democratic Party that today voted against a $15 minimum wage. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Gun control and just there are so many other issues out there, and because you're of a certain party, you have to believe the way this party believes. You can't grab a little bit of stuff here, you can't grab stuff here and combine it and make something that could turn out to be great.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's about that time. And Bryce, I'm going to let you do the final thoughts of the day. Go ahead and give your final thoughts. So every week on here, one of us will go ahead and wrap up what we talked about and kind of give our final thoughts on a quick summary of what we talked about. And since you are the guest, I'll let you put your final thoughts together. Just 20 seconds of what wrap everything up to the viewers watching at home.
Oh, can I just say what I want to say? Do I really got to be?
Say what you feel, man.
Whatever
all right,
you feel.
cool. Listen, yo, a gallon a day of water. I'm telling y'all, do it. It's good for your health. It's good for life. I started doing this a couple of years ago. Changed my life. A gallon a day. Trust me on this one.
Water is so nasty, though.
Yo,
But anyway,
You know what? I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Bryce. And maybe 2 tablespoons of vinegar with a little bit of water in the morning. Really get your system going.
all right. So everybody tune in next week, same place, same time. I want to shout out Bryce and Gene for showing up today.
yo,
And,
shout out to the Baltimore Ravens, man. We going to the Super Bowl this year, man.
Hey, and I want to give a shout out to the caller. Hey, I enjoyed your comments, and please call in again.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody who want to call, just hit me up on Twitter. Hit any of us up on Twitter, and we'll make sure we get you on there. Bryce, we're gonna definitely have you on again next week. We'll have another guest on next week and have some other topics. If anybody got anything that they want to hear us talk about or hear our opinions about, go ahead and hit us up on Twitter or leave something in the comments on the Facebook on the YouTube page, and we'll make sure we hit those topics because we're gonna say what we feel about those and. My final thoughts today, I'm no fucking Uncle Ruckus. But everybody have a good day. We out.
Hold on, before we leave. Next time, can we talk a little bit more sports? Because I was kind of prepared to go on about the NBA Finals and whatnot. We didn't get into that, but it's all good.
Yeah. Everybody love each other.
Everybody love each other. Oh, yeah, Cavs won.